Great for Sting, man. Great for Sting. Let's look at the rest of the AEW card. We had Christian Cage defeating Daniel Garcia. What do you guys think about that match? Daniel Garcia getting a title shot and Christian Cage continuing his menacing act of being probably one of the best heels in the business.
I actually thought Daniel Garcia was going to pull it off, but it's just Christian. I know Christian is probably doing his best heel work right now. It's like crazy. And he has this little mini faction with him that's, like basically like kind of like the bloodline, just helping him win every damn time he has a match. So who knows? I mean, I don't know. I feel like the stuff with him and Edge, they kind of need to move on from that, but who knows if that's going to end anytime soon.
So they did announce that on the March 20th Dynamite, which will be not next week, but the week after, that Edge and Christian were going to face each other in an I Quit match for the TNT title. So that is happening after next week's show, which is supposed to be the debut of Mercedes Moné. I mean, obviously, as they should, they pushed it hard. AEW big business next week. So she's coming, but
we are going, right?
Sasha Banks, don't do it. Don't.
It's happening, bro. It's happening, bro. The fact that they're promoting the whole show around it, if she doesn't show up, that's a letdown.
That'd be huge. You really it's I'm going to Boston big business, and it's not
exactly like you pretty much made it obvious. Okay, if it's not Sasha, then who? So it's like
Max Cardona.
It's Ted DiBiase and IRS and Money Inc.
but to talk about this first match, I mean, this was pretty much your straightforward, straightforward Christian Cage match.
Is Christian Cage Mini Roman?
Look at the concept. Look at the concept. Just saying.
Is he Mini Roman? Like this is pretty much your standard Christian Cage match.
What a turtleneck.
Yeah, I mean, it pretty much is. I mean, pretty much the patriarchy gets involved, and then you think, Luchasaurus of Kill Switch is finally gonna get his and you finally think he's gonna realize that Christian has been using them, and that he's gonna turn, but it never happens. But it was a really, really good straightforward match. Like I said, Christian is very, very underrated. Probably arguably one of the best workers in the business. And this goes back to when he was in WWE. He's always been very, very, very solid. You know what you get from Daniel Garcia, but him being such a good technician and now him being such a better character. But it was a very decent, very straightforward match. Nothing special.
Yeah, it was a good match, and I don't know. It's crazy how good Christian still looks too. He's another one that I feel like isn't aging. Like time isn't catching up with him. This man's having literally like 30-minute matches every damn time, and like he's still going. It was just crazy.
Just able to go. He took care of himself. That's for sure.
But yeah, like Brian said, straightforward. Christian just being a heel, getting another W. Who knows when he's going to lose that title? So we'll see how it goes. But he's going
to have to drop it to Nick Wayne or something. There has to be some passing of the torch or guard or something like that.
I don't think Nick Wayne's in a place where he'll get the title. He'll need to like stand out on his own.
I hope that's what they're doing with him.
It doesn't look like it's happening anytime soon, though.
So Christian's going to be champion for a long ass time.
Has been champion for a long ass time.
But no, I thought it was a good, solid match. Christian doing his standard Roman Reigns impression with his family helping him win the match. Good work from both of those guys. Let's get into Eddie Kingston versus Daniel Bryan for the Continental Crown. Eddie Kingston has been really, really impressive in these matchups. The tournament, I thought ever since the tournament, him battling his way through that, beating Jon Moxley, getting the crown per se, and now going into these matches with Daniel Bryan and getting the win. Like, he's been impressive. I've been impressed with his work. I always felt like in AEW, I felt like they were kind of messing with him, not really giving him that spot to elevate himself and having a prominent role. He's always been featured, but it's like he's not really being as successful as I thought he would have been. And now we're seeing that success, especially in a matchup like this, showing that he can go. What do you guys think about this matchup and Eddie Kingston getting the win?
I've always been a huge Eddie Kingston fan. Yeah, I think like earlier on he was kind of just like there. And I think he's always kind of been a fan favorite just because of his personality and the way he carries himself on TV. It's very authentic, real. It's him. It's like, he doesn't like talking like it's all, bullshit or whatever. He's just like, no, let's be for real. Like, you don't like me, I don't like you, this and this and that. Like, but we're gonna go at it. And I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really watch the build up to this match, but I know I saw the first match that they had together in the tournament, and I thought that was a great match. And the story they had built that,
Lewis, the whole story was pretty much built around that first match.
Yeah, because the story saying that it was a fluke that he beat him or whatever.
To kind of echo what Lewis said about Eddie Kingston, I think the one word he mentioned was authentic. I mean, that's one of the reasons why people love Eddie Kingston so much is because he comes off real, he comes off real, genuine. It's no bullshit with him, and I kind of loved how they've kind of leaned into his whole background with Japanese wrestling, because that's how he got started in wrestling, being such a fan of general Japanese wrestling, and that's the reason why he has all of these titles, kind of mirror some of his idols in Japan that he grew up watching. That's kind of the whole reason why the Continental Crown was created for him to do that. But the match between him and Bryan Danielson also was very good. People they crap on Eddie. Some people do crap on Eddie Kingston. They talk about his physique and all that stuff. I don't get into all that because the way I see it, he may not look like he's in shape, but he's in way better shape than you. You go in there for 20-25 minutes and do what he just did. All right, you can't do it. You may look better than him, but you need
an oxygen tank.
Yeah, no regular person is coming off the street and having a 60-minute match.
Exactly. That's how I always look at when people talk about other wrestlers, especially when it's women and their physique and everything and how they're supposed to look. And I'm just like, well, you can't even get into the ring and do half the shit that they do. How the hell can you say that they don't look like they're not in shape? I mean, from Eddie Kingston, Kevin Owens, there's been plenty of guys.
Dusty Rhodes,
especially Dusty Rhodes, and plenty of guys who didn't look the part, but they can go.
It's one thing in being big and you look out of shape. Like you can see those earlier versions of Big Show when he looked like he was out of shape and stuff like that, versus when he was in shape. So it's like as long as the person's not out of shape, they're big. That's their body type, but. That should have been trumped out with Dusty Rhodes long ago. That should have been trumped out with guys like The Undertaker, Kane.
Yeah, because if their cardio is not on point, it don't matter what you look like. If you're not able to keep going and keep like that. That's why I think when Samoa Joe came back in NXT, and I'm like, this man looks like he was not going. To compare to what he's doing now, I was like, when he came back and he won the title, I was like, Joe, what's going on here? You were not prepared for this because you looking gassed. You looking like you was on E compared to what he's doing now. I'm like, it's two completely different versions. And like he said, he was injured during that time.
He was hurt.
But that shows that body type doesn't matter. It's just if you're able endurance.
The guy that trumped that in this day and age was Kevin Owens. People looked at his body type and Bray Wyatt as well. Like when people looked at those two guys, everybody was like, "Oh, those guys can go," and it's like that should have trumped everything. But Eddie Kingston has a track record of putting on long matches, great matches, and looking good. That shouldn't be an issue. My only issue was that he was putting everybody over. He was kind of like the stepping stone for somebody else to get to that main event level, to get the respect and stuff like that. And now he's finally getting that respect, beating guys and stuff like that. Pillars of AEW, John Moxley. Daniel Bryanson. So it's good to see him finally put in all that work and finally reap the rewards of that. I'm happy for him for that in AEW for sure, man. For sure.
Yeah.
Like, salute to him, putting on great matches and putting on stellar work. Like, he's able to go with anybody. He's showing that. And hopefully he continues to gain that respect and continue to elevate himself in that company. Let's go to the All-Star Battle Royal, I guess. Won by Warlord, getting future AEW title shot. What do you guys think about that matchup? A bunch of kind of thrown together match, but kind of to showcase Warlord.
Don't you want to go ahead?
Yeah, I'll go. I don't know. To me, this match was kind of all over the place. I honestly didn't understand the rules of it. The fact that it started and everybody got tossed out the ring, I was like, wait, this isn't a battle royal? I was like, what?
I'm like, first of all, it's a scramble match, right? So like, based upon our understanding on when WWE did the scramble match, the rules of the match go pretty much whoever got the last pinfall at the end of the time limit wins, right?
Yes.
So you got 6 guys competing with each other over pinfalls. One guy gets a pinfall, another guy gets a pinfall. Whoever gets the last pinfall at the very end of the time wins it. So when they called it a scramble match, I'm over here. When the match started, I'm like, okay, where's the timer? And I'm like, okay, this is not a scramble match. Okay. And then I see pinfalls happening. Okay, so it's one pinfall to the finish. Okay, so it's pretty much an 8-man fatal. So it's a fatal 8-way.
Fatal 8-way.
Okay, all right. I couldn't think of another word to start with E. So it's a fatal 8-way. Okay.
This is pretty much just to showcase Warlord and finally give him that moment, right? Because he's been kind of chasing a title opportunity, right? Kind of like he was always hunting down MJF, trying to get the revenge back on him. We don't see MJF transpire from heel to face, and Warlord still trying to chase him in some regard. So,
I feel like the Wardlow experiment has kind of fizzled out. Like, and him cutting that promo, it was not like, it was cool, but it was nothing like spectacular. I think it was just more him showcasing his frustrations, which is justifiable just because of all the, stop and go. Like, he had this huge build up with the MJF stuff, which should have had a great payoff, and it didn't. That's why honestly, I'm like, you have Powerhouse Hobbs right there. Like, I don't know. To me, he's always kind of been a heel for the most part. I'm like, I'd rather see him get a chance. Even if we give him the shortest title run ever, but I'm like,
I feel like both of those guys have been wasted in AEW a bit.
Yeah.
Because with Wardlow, like the promos he's been cutting have been very good, but to me it's been kind of like, it's like, too late.
Yeah.
Like when he came back from injury or whenever he initially came back, that should have been those promos he's been cutting should have been the first thing that they did. I mean, but then he had a couple of weeks where he was just squashing people, and he said he's coming for MJF when MJF was feuding with like 3 other people at the same time, and they had the momentum with him in the very beginning, like right after. When I remember that I forget what pay-per-view it was, but when he opened the show and he beat MJF, convincingly beat MJF
when he got rid of his contract, right?
Yeah. I think the next show, that's when MJF cut the shoot promo. And then he was gone for a little while. But right then and there, they had the momentum right there and then with him. They could have did so much.
Wait. What happened to Adam Cole?
Adam Cole is hurt.
He's still hurt.
Adam Cole is still hurt. Bro, he literally broke his foot in like 3 different places. So
Wait, so they did that whole angle,
knowing he was
with him being revealed as the guy.
Yeah,
and there's nothing out of that. Like, everybody's just hurt. Like, Warlord isn't like leading that group. Like,
you got the group coming out of it, and you got the group coming out of it, and I'm guessing the story is going to be that Wardlow is kind of the muscle of the group that's kind of working on behalf of Adam Cole. That he's supposedly supposed to win the world title and just hand it over to Adam Cole, which we all know is probably going to be a story in of itself. And now, if the whole point of that story is for Wardlow to win the title, Cole asks for the title, and Wardlow say, "No, fuck that! You gotta beat me for this." And then he gets kicked out of the group, and then it's Wardlow against the Undisputed Kingdom. Now that would be a good idea if you're trying to get Wardlow hot again, though, because
but it's the same story that he had with MJF. He was aligned with MJF, and then he wouldn't let him out. Like,
yeah, Lewis. This is AEW. They tell the same stories over and over again. Yeah, that's what they do. Like I said with MJF, how many times did people have to go through a whole bunch of bullshit before they got to MJF? He did that same. They told that same story four different times with 4 different people that they had to go through some shit to get to MJF. So that's what AEW does. They tell the same stories.
Jesus. Yeah, Warlow getting is it Warlow? I keep saying this. Warlow. There we go.
Warlow.
Whatever the. Get a better name. There we go. Let's start there. Get a better name. That's not a mess up. That's not a mess up. We're not counting that against me. He needs a better name. That's what we need to do.
You said Warlow.
He needs a better name.
You said Warlow.
I'm gonna create a short. I'm gonna tag him in this. I'm gonna be like, get a better name. AEW, get him a better name. Do something with that. He needs a better name.
That's not a good name. Like
he needs, come on, man. Like, you gotta do something else. Let's start there. That's the problem. He's not presented as a main eventer or a person that's going to accept that. With that,
he's presented as a mid carder. Like, I don't that TNT title. Maybe go after the international at some point.
Him and Hobbs. I'm just like,
what's the difference?
The international is more prestigious.
Seriously, what's the difference between the international title and the TNT title?
The international is more prestigious, and it goes around the world.
I thought you were talking about Hobbs and Wardlow. One's black, one's white.
Big men slapping me.
That's pretty much what this match had.
That's another thing. Yo, who was it? Big E that started that term?
Yep, it was on the podcast.
Oh my god! Ever since the fact that that's a term now, big meaty men slapping meat.
Yo, it's hilarious because he was talking about his favorite wrestler was Goldberg, and he was like, he was never about like the technical or your 5-star matches. He's like, I don't look for none of that. I just big meaty men slapping meat.
No,
I'm just like, yo, why is that? Why is this a phrase now?
Hilarious.
Every time I hear it, I just my mind goes in different directions. It's like, yo, what the fuck? Like, why the fuck are you people saying
for better or for worse?
One of the best things. I actually used to love the New Day podcast. I actually used to listen to it all the time.
Yeah, me too. Like, yeah, that was funny. I'll never forget the story that they told about the one time when they were on the road after the show, and I think Biggie and Kofi had gotten like KFC, but then Woods didn't want it. He wanted McDonald's, and they thought they could just drive around and find one, but every McDonald's they went to was closed. So I don't think he ended up eating that night, so they were clowning them over it.
Stories from the road, man. Stories
from the road. But no, but as far as this match goes, it was just your typical AEW organized chaos match, and the right guy won. It's just a matter of what they're gonna do. What they're gonna do moving forward
now. Next up, we got Roderick Strong winning the international championship from Orange Cassidy. Oh man, he's been holding on to that thing, battling with that thing, and then loses it to Roderick Strong. Also,
he was beat up in this one. I mean, he had all the tape on. I've always said this: Roderick Strong, the man's not big, but he is fit, and his arsenal is crazy. The fact that his whole thing is like, the king of like the backbreaker and stuff like that.
The Messiah of the backbreaker.
Yeah, Messiah. I've always been a huge fan. That's why I always wanted him to win the NXT championship when he was in NXT. Mm-hmm. And even though it was still great that, they created Undisputed Era and everything, but I was a big Roddy fan during that time. I know he'd been around already, and like
even when he was doing the Diamond Mine. I
didn't really watch that stuff.
That NXT stuff, yeah.
It was like post. It was like post. Like that was like 2.0.
That's 2.0. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I honestly didn't see any of that.
Yeah, that's
but
the reason why he requested his release from there because of that.
I like that group though. I thought
it took a minute for him to get it, but
yeah,
he got it.
But yeah, this match, I think they just showcased him very well. And, obviously, the story was that, Orange Cassidy was just like, and then we've seen it for he's had that, 2 title runs with that title, and he's defended it constantly. It's the workhorse title. So him getting the win was the right choice and kind of like the clear choice during the match as you saw it, because he wasn't really getting a lot of offense either way. And most likely Orange Cassidy needs to heal either way. So I think Roddy's definitely the right guy to hold that title right now. And we'll definitely see some stellar matches come out of that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Or is he going to cower and not defend the title? He has that group around him. That's what I'm thinking.
That is true.
So he could play that angle with it too.
That is true.
So from what I saw from this program, I think the whole story was pretty much Roger Strong wanting to break down Orange Cassidy going into the match. So he had him in all these random matches. I think one of those matches was a death match against Matt Taven on one of these Dynamites for no reason.
Jesus.
But after each one of these matches, the Undisputed Kingdom would come out and like take out members of Orange Cassidy's posse, taking out Taylor, Trent, Rocky Romero, and pretty much every week somebody was getting taken out by the Undisputed Kingdom until Orange Cassidy was left all by himself. And then he's doing all these matches, banging up his body in the process. Like Lewis said, he had all that Kaniso tape all over his body going into the match. But never going to get a poor performance from either Roderick Strong or Orange Cassidy. This was a very good, very, very good match. Even though that the story coming out of this match was really the return of Kyle O'Reilly after a year.
Yeah. Almost unrecognizable
about him. As soon as he came into, I'm like, oh shit! I haven't thought about this guy in like a year and a half, 2 years.
He looked completely different. When I saw him hop the fence, I thought it was a fan hopping the fence. I was
that's
no, nobody's gonna stop this guy.
Oh, that's O'Reilly.
It didn't look like him at all. I was like, who's this fan? Nobody's gonna tackle him yet.
It's like, get Bobby Fish back in here. Get Bobby Fish back in here. Now, not Kyle O'Reilly's back. Might as well get the whole era back. Yeah, but I'm curious to see what's gonna happen. What's gonna happen with that because because Kyle O'Reilly, he really was starting to hit his stride.
Yeah,
starting in NXT when they finally broke him away from the Undisputed Era. It didn't really end well, but then when he finally came to AEW, you definitely saw that, that he does have the potential as a singles wrestler moving forward.
Adam!
So apparently, I actually read somewhere that apparently Roger Strong does that shit at the crib now with his dog.
That was funny.
Oh man,
but
he's a hidden talent. He's definitely somebody that was overlooked a little bit in WWE. Kind of just seen as an enhancer to the Undisputed Era, to that group, and to NXT during that time. But he's definitely created himself a lane, created a character, and shown that he has character, has charisma, and obviously a ring general in the ring. So you got to respect him from that standpoint. But obviously a good match between the two. And we're going to see what happens with him and Kyle O'Reilly. Obviously, there's something going on brewing there. And I'm pretty sure at some point this is going to lead back to Adam Cole in some form or function when he gets back healthy as well. So hopefully we get something good coming out of that. Moving on, we got Blackpool Combat Club facing FTR. Being in Greensboro, North Carolina, coming out with the LOD uniforms that Black Combat Club had. I thought that was dope, them coming in. This was obviously a hard-hitting affair. You know what you're going to get from FTR between these guys. And what do you guys think about this match with BCC getting the win?
So this was a point during the night where I started getting frustrated because my live feed kept like cutting in and out, kept cutting like in and out. So I actually didn't see this match. I had to go back and watch the highlights. From what I saw, it was a very hard hitting technical match. I mean, when you look at the participants that were involved with FTR, Mox, and Claudio, I mean, you already know what you're gonna get from an in-ring standpoint from all four of them. So I knew it was gonna be a very, very good kind of like old school kind of a tag
team cruiser type match.
Yeah. So I did catch the finish at the very end. So it was, from what I saw, it was very good.
Yeah, honestly, this match, I mean, I didn't see the build-up for it. And that there wasn't really I didn't really get why they were like going at each other. It was just like a match for them just to go at, because I was like, there's no tag title, nothing's on the line. Like, so I didn't really see. So I'm not gonna lie, I did kind of fast forward a little through this match a little bit, because it was just like,
this match was literally. I think Mox and Claude. I think Mox had come out and said that any team that wants to step up against us can come step up. And of course, FTR came out, stared them down, and there's your match.
Yeah, that's why I was just like, this match, like, if there wasn't any titles on the line, I was just like, okay.
Sometimes that's hard hitting, Lewis.
Huh?
Sometimes that's all you need, Lewis. Is just guys that just don't like each other. That's all you need.
Yeah.
Why do you care about stories so much?
Well, even if it was like even if it was for like, all right, winner of this becomes next number one contenders or something like that, you know, it's just like, we don't like each other. Let's settle out the pay-per-view. I don't know.
Why does everything have to have stakes with you?
Not stakes, but okay, you telling me this match couldn't have been better if it was just like a steel cage match?
Well, is John Moxley supposed to bleed every night?
It's not that. I'm just saying it would add more to, like, we're two great teams, but it's like we're just having a regular match for the sake of having a match.
Respect.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to end, though. They're always going to continue that battle. Yeah. Obviously, a technical affair. Choking them out at the end, I thought that was a nice touch, because you don't usually see that all the time. So I thought that was cool. But yeah, definitely going to be something, especially with the tag team titles now vacant.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can get some battles between them going forward, because we've seen John Moxley in the main event scene for a while now. And now he's kind of maybe in this tag team with, I'm going to always call him Cesaro. Claudio.
Yeah.
Claudio. But he's always going to be in this tag team. So I think this can be a new venture for him, especially a person looking to reposition himself, and something that could main event stuff, with Moxley and Claudio at the tag team division against FTR, against other tag teams in the division. So I think that's something that potentially could be good for them going down the road. So,
yeah, I would not mind Cesaro going after the AEW World Championship. I feel like him versus Samoa Joe would be a crazy match.
Yeah, and especially with the way Samoa Joe
see that being like a hard-hitting match, but that's just me.
At some point, hopefully. You should definitely get that at some point.
Yeah.
Next up, we have Timeless Tony Storm defeating Deonna Purrazzo. What do you guys think about this match?
Short match, but good match. It did what it was supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'm not gonna lie, I got played when I saw that old Tony Storm, fit. I was like, oh snap, she came out in her old stuff. Turns out it was the other girl who helps her out. I was like, oh shit. That's crazy.
I'm just gonna say this: WWE 2K24 does make fun of Tony Storm in
really?
My Rise storyline. I saw some clips from it. They definitely poke fun at her.
With the pie?
No, the movie star gimmick, I should say, in a little bit.
Timeless Tony Storm.
Wow. See, why do you guys need to? Why are you poking fun at something that's actually working though?
I understand why they did it in the concept of the game, so I'm like, okay, I saw some clips. That's all.
Yeah, but it's work. But it's the thing though that the character and the gimmick has been working. You can make the case that the character and gimmick has been carrying their women's division for the last couple of months.
It absolutely
is. Yeah, but Yeah, just to agree with Lewis. I also got fooled when the old Tony Storm music came out, but when I got fooled, I was kind of hoping, nah, she's not going backwards, is she? Nah, because this is gimmick is so because what she's doing is so unique. It's so different, and but the match itself, it was like I said, like Lewis said, it was very short. I also felt it was kind of predictable, but I feel bad for Diana Purrazzo because as a result of losing this match, I would like to. I'm assuming that whatever that they had cooking is probably going to come to an end now, especially now that we have what we're supposedly supposed to be getting next week with who's coming. And
how do you not know she's going for the TBS title?
Why?
See,
who even has the TBS title?
This is what we're talking about. Based upon Tony Khan's booking strategy.
If you bring back Sasha Banks and have her go for the TBS title,
I just think when she comes back, but here's the thing. Tony Khan, I kind of got a good idea of Tony Khan's booking. He does it with the men sometimes too. Like he'll bring in these hitters, these big name rosters, and their first program will always be with the top champion. Like I remember when they signed Brian Cage, and they thought Brian Cage was going to be a big deal. They put him with Taz, and they thought he was going to be a big deal. His first feud was against Moxley for the title. Now Diana Purrazzo, she comes in. Huge addition for the women's roster. First program is with Tony Storm, but now here we got Mercedes Moné coming in. Now, if you're gonna make that big impact, it's almost mandatory that she has to go after Tony Storm. If she's not going after Tony Storm, the only other two feuds I'm interested in is with Saraya because of the backstory with Saraya breaking her neck because they got a story that they can go to that, and like Daniel mentioned a whole bunch of times, the whole the feud with Britt Baker because we'll get great matches out of that. Other than the world title, those two other feuds, if you don't have her coming in doing any of those three, it's a letdown.
If they do that, that's going to be insanity, and Tony Khan should get checked into some type of facility.
Yeah, but speaking of Diana Purrazzo, because she is such a big addition to the roster, it's almost sad because now that she's lost now, it's almost like she's going to be put on the back burner now because now we got Mercedes coming in, and now Mercedes is going to be like the new flavor for the women's division.
If they want to do it right, they should have Mercedes go through Diana Purrazzo. They like those two should be butting heads instantly because it's like, no, you're trying to come and take my spot. That I'm here now. So it's like they should be butting heads. Like, I feel like there's a lot of talent on that roster, and they should all just be going after each other. Like, there's no reason why they can't do that, especially AEW time lags at times and stuff like that. The women's division can be a pick-me-up for that. Mm-hmm. You can have multiple women's matches. Have people just go after each other. they have the roster to do that. So if they fumble the bag here, I don't know what's next for them. I don't know how they recover from that. But let's keep going on. We got Will Ospreay facing Takeshita.
Match of the night.
Hard-hitting affair. What I saw. You know what you're going to get with Will Ospreay. Takeshita. We saw him at Blood and Guts and stuff like that. It's just like every single time I see him, I'm impressed. He has good size. He's hard-hitting and able to hang with these guys. I'm like, just a great match between these two. Will Ospreay. I don't know what else you got to say about it. Like,
there's nothing that you can say about Ospreay or Takeshita versus match. I agree completely. Match of the night. It's arguably some people saying match of the year so far based upon who you talk to. I mean, there's so much you can break down in that match. I go back to when Takeshita gave Will Ospreay that suplex into the turnbuckle. Into the corner. And I'm just like, yo, what are you doing, Takeshita?
Why?
And the thing about it, I actually thought Will Ospreay was legit hurt because right after he goes down and he's pointing at his back, and I'm like, oh damn, nah, not like this. This was already so good, and then. And I forget what sequence it was in the match, but I think Ospreay did something, and then like Takeshita countered it into like a Blue Thunder, the Blue Thunder bomb, and for a 2 count. I mean, some of the stuff that they were just doing, and then they had that sequence where they actually had a bunch of sequences where they were just going back and forth with each other. And I think it was Takeshita when he forearmed the fuck out of Will Ospreay to the point where I actually thought he actually hit him because I'm like, God damn. Like he actually winded up and you actually watch clear enough, you see he clearly made contact, and I'm thinking like, damn, he might have knocked Ospreay out with the way he threw it. And,
the way they sell their stuff, and that's pretty much because a lot of these times these guys are protecting themselves or figuring out ways to protect themselves and stuff like that. We saw with Ospreay, he had that big ass bruise on his back from that turnbuckle spot and stuff like that. And it's like, oh shit, is he hurt? Is he hurt? And the ability for these guys to just continue to sell out the move and then sell for each other afterwards is just crazy. I don't like when you watch these matches, it's just like it's a technical art form. I don't know what to call it. It's just a different level of wrestling, I should say. Yeah. It's a different level of wrestling, man.
The fact that they're not breaking each other's noses every night, it's like amazing because like these dudes were going back and forth. And
like, how do you practice that? Some of that shit, like
even when they throw the forearm and it's like hitting here, I'm like, how are you? I don't know, man.
I don't know how they do it. It's like I don't know.
You guys have figured it out,
and it's not like this is a different. This is not like. Is this strong style wrestling? Is this a different form of it or whatever?
I think so. Yeah, I mean, the Japanese style has always been stronger. So
because it's like these are different opponents. Like it's not like it's the same person every night. These are different opponents.
Yeah.
So these guys to continue to do that is just crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, and I know some people, that they saw the match and they thought like, well, this is gymnastics on steroids. And I'm like, no, it's not. No, they actually were selling.
Yeah,
and some of the sequences. I mean, it may not seem that way because of how fast paced everything was, but they were selling. I mean, there was one sequence where I think like Ospreay at the end of it hit Takeshita with that forearm move that he does, move that he does, and Takeshita kicked out at one, and then the whole crowd went crazy over it. So they had the crowd. It was a great match. It was tremendous athleticism between both guys. People are definitely going to be coming back to that match throughout this year.
And I think what it is a lot of the times people are so used to what they're seeing, right? Like they're so used to a WWE style, and now they come over to an AEW thing, or they haven't seen these guys, or what they're expecting something different from what they've heard or what they've seen in clips and stuff like that. So when you get the full thing, it's like you just got to enjoy it and embrace it. Even some of the stuff AEW with the hardcore shit with Darby Allin going through stuff and some of the stuff they do. Some of the times you just gotta step back.
Yeah, and honestly, Daniel, that's not just with the match quality. That's pretty much with everything that they do. Like when you look, like I mentioned the production with the Sting's last match, but with their production, with their entrances, everything that they do gets compared with WWE. So if you don't watch them, you automatically look at it and say, well, this isn't. Well, they're not doing this. They're not doing this right. But when you've been watching WWE for over 20 years and you see something different, of course it's gonna throw you off. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. It's just different.
Yeah. Like especially with all the stuff where they're trying to do more sports related stuff, like when they were interviewing, when they were showing Daniel Bryan and Eddie Kingston warming up in the back.
Yeah, the backstage segments and stuff.
Yeah, that was dope. Like that's a different element of something that we haven't seen. I'm like, that's dope. So for that to happen, different stuff. I mean, again, I'm no big AEW fan, but some of the stuff you got to respect it for what they do because it's like, when you get Will Ospreay and now you get Takeshita and you get Kenny Omega and you get Daniel Bryan and Eddie Kingston and guys like that, you should know what you're getting. You know it's going to be good. It's never going to be bad when you tune in. So I don't know how anybody can have anything bad to say about those matches, but they'll find a way. It's the wrestling community.
Oh, yeah, for sure. They're going to say it's the worst and everything.
Let's get into the last match here. Well, technically not the last match. We already talked about Sting, but let's get Samoa Joe retaining his title against Swerve Strickland and Hangman Page. And now, is Hangman Page a heel?
Yeah, he has to be now.
And the reason why, and that's why I'm laughing. That's why I'm laughing right now. Because as soon as you brought this match up, I just keep thinking, yo, when both times in this match when he interrupted the count and he attacked the referee both times, I was crying. Cause I always found that funny. I'm like, yo, why is he beating up the ref like this? Like, why are you assaulting the ref?
And he's somebody that has always, I felt like, needed a different character change because they have done this cowboy shit angle with him. They have done this redemption. He's the pillar of AEW and all this stuff, and it's like he's the baby face, and it's like, okay, he needs something different to differentiate himself. So now that this whole feud with Swerve Strickland is now going on, and he's justified in his actions and being angry at Swerve and stuff like that. But it's like, is he a heel now? With some of his actions, it's like he's finally, yeah.
I know. Like throughout the weeks leading up to the match, they were kind of like iffy about it. But that match kind of made it official.
He's in that Bret Hart stage, right? When like WWF did that for a little while with Bret Hart, where it's kind of like, is he not? He's a face. Is he a heel? What is it? They're finally going all in with it. I feel like that's something that he needs for his character development.
He definitely does because people were, even when he was the strong babyface in the feud with Swerve, people were still leaning towards Swerve throughout the feud. No matter how Swerve cut the promo in his house, presumably in front of his son's crib, people were still going for Swerve. People were still chanting Swerve's house. And they just made it official in this match because remember when Prince Nana tried to give the crown to Swerve, and Swerve said, I don't need it. After that, then that pretty much made it official. And then after the match was done, because Swerve didn't get pinned, he was in the corner crying, emotionally crying. And months prior, you wouldn't think Swerve would do something like that. So. Yeah, so Hangman is a heel now. Yeah,
it's those cool heels, man, that become baby faces just through their persona with Swerve, right? Like he was the bad guy. He was the one.
It's like Randy Orton. Like Randy Orton for the longest time was a heel, and like
Prince
he just became so cool.
Made Swerve a baby face, though.
You think so?
Yeah, with all that,
but he's been doing that since he came.
Yeah, but when he first did it, people were kind of, but then when he started doing it every week, people started liking it. Then people started posting videos on social media of it. That's actually a trend on TikTok right now to do.
I was asking myself, is Prince Nana just like, is he supposed to be like just a manager, or like what is he? Is he like what's his name? What's that black dude's name? Stokely. Like, is he just a manager? Is he just a
pretty much?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, he's pretty. Gates of Agony. Yeah, that
he's this era's Jimmy Hart.
That's the perfect example. Perfect comparison. Yep,
that's what it is.
Dude, can I join a wrestling promotion and become a Jimmy Hart? Like, I wouldn't do that.
Hey man, you gotta get in the business. That's always a role, and I wish, sidetracking here a little bit, but I wish WWE didn't go away from that for so long. I don't know why Vince thought like nobody can be a manager or anybody can be a valet. And it's like that was something that was so needed for a lot of teams, a lot of guys in wrestling. It's like, why don't we have this? And to see freaking AEW have it with Jake the Snake Roberts with Lance Archer and Don Callis and all these other guys that play prominent roles in those factions, because it's like, even especially for heels, even interfering in a match, getting a bump, like it's gonna work regardless. So I don't know why WWE went away from that for so long, but yeah, to continue, you can continue, bro.
All right. But as far as this triple threat match goes, I mean, it was still a very, very good triple threat. Swerve, he has grown so much. Yeah, he's grown so much over 2023 until now. You almost felt like he should go over it in this match. And I don't know if that's what they're planning. I know they kicked off Dynamite tonight with Swerve and Samoa Joe in the ring, and then the Undisputed Kingdom came out. Then they had a little tag team match where Joe teamed up with Swerve to face Taven and Bennett of the Kingdom to kick off the night. So they're definitely still pushing forward with this story. Hey, I'm all for it, man. I mean, Swerve has been the one guy where you had Bryan Danielson was hurt, Kenny Omega was hurt. You got all these guys who were injured, and you needed somebody to step up for you, and Swerve was the guy that stepped up. So he's been doing he's had great character work as a heel. Like I said, Prince Nana dancing next to him definitely added something to him. I mean he's your hottest guy on your roster right now. I mean, so some people say you might as well just pull the trigger and put the title on Swerve at this point.
Yeah,
I think they're gonna drag it out. That's what I personally think.
Yeah,
but
because it's crazy to think how they did it to Hangman, where Hangman had almost a whole year of chasing the title until he finally got it. So I hope they don't go that far. But you can tell everybody is behind Swerve right now. Everybody's, a huge fan of the song, the music, his style, everything that he does in the ring. After that Texas death match with Adam Page, I thought was amazing. For some people it's not their cup of tea, but it's still a great match. Swerve is doing amazing things right now, and when they pull the trigger, that's going to be a big one right there. Especially just he keeps referencing, the first African American, AEW. That's going to be a huge moment, and when that happens, it should be in one of their big pay-per-views, and hopefully it has a good story leading into it.
But what do you guys think about Samoa Joe in that matchup and how he's playing his role as the champion?
Perfect. Yeah, he deserved the win.
He
just got that title. He can't lose it that quick.
Yeah, that's exactly.
I was surprised when he won the title, but now that he has it, I'm like, okay, this was a good move for them to get it on somebody that's stable, somebody that's consistent, somebody who's always going to put on a good promo, who's always going to be a good worker in the ring, and I feel like that was the right move.
Joe's definitely a good promo worker.
Honestly, when he won the title, the only thing I was thinking of was damn, MJF really must be like his body really must be broken down, physically broken down, because I honestly didn't see any. If MJF was still fully healthy right now, I still say the title needs to stay on him because I couldn't. Aside from what we're seeing from Swerve right now, I feel like Swerve would be the perfect guy to defeat MJF if he still was champ. But I didn't see anybody. But I didn't see anybody beating MJF. If MJF is still healthy right now, unless it's a healthy Adam Cole coming back to tell that story, I didn't see anybody beating MJF. So
yeah, for sure.
But nah, man. AEW Revolution, especially that's their WrestleMania, right? That's their big pay-per-view.
Is it?
Or is it all out?
That was double or nothing.
Now it's all in, all out. Whatever show is going to be in Wembley. But I just want to say one more thing about AEW before we move on. They just like I said in the chat, they just officially announced that Okada has officially signed with them now. So now he's all elite. All right. So I'm gonna just say one thing. You got Okada, Will Ospreay, Bryan Danielson, and Kenny Omega when eventually he comes back from his injury. You have arguably 4 of the top in-ring wrestlers all on one roster right now. All right. Tony Khan. The talent is there, man. It's all based upon your booking if you're gonna have any success with them. So there's no more excuses now about AEW. It's been 4 or 5 years now. You got the roster. You got 4 of the top in-ring wrestlers in the world, and you're about to get a top female talent next week. All right. So realistically, and I'm gonna say this, and this is gonna be controversial. I give them until like maybe April. If by April, if you don't have consistently 1 million viewers consistently by April, then that's a problem now for me. Because
Brian's trying to bring the downfall. you heard it here first, Dan.
you have the talent. The only thing that's holding you guys back now is your booking. So
no, I get what he's saying, because now you have enough international talent to bring eyes to your product. You have enough known names in America that people know who these people are. there shouldn't be any issue with being able to book this now.
Yeah, I mean, look at all the people they brought in from WWE who are in Malachi Black.
No, you got the four.
But those guys,
Drummers and Swerve and Darby, like you got all the talent.
But those guys were. But we knew when AEW launched, those were the cast-offs of WWE, right? Like Moxley, as known as Moxley is, he was a cast-off from WWE. Mero,
Keith Lee,
Pac, Keith Lee, all these guys were kind of cast-offs. And let's be honest, outside of John Moxley, outside of a couple guys, those guys have not been booked greatly. That's been the issue with a lot of those guys that have come over. Even Adam Cole to some degree. He was a hot new guy coming in.
Andrade,
guys that just weren't booked correctly. House of Black. Yeah, he had that hot moment with Cody Rhodes, and then after that, it was like
we'll get into Andrade. Yeah.
So it's like I don't know. So it's definitely difficult to see the star power they have now, the name power they have now, and what Brian's saying is kind of true. It's like, yo, you guys should be killing it. Like you guys should be. Now is like the reboot that you guys were looking for, right? Like you got all your fresh new guys coming in. You got your heavy hitters coming in. You got Sasha Banks, Mercedes Moné coming in next week, supposedly. This should be the time when you're hitting your stride right now because it's like you have momentum right now, especially after Sting. Especially after Sting's last match, and now you're kind of moving into this new void. This is a chance for them. This should be a good chance for them. So we'll see how it goes going forward. We are at the 118 mark. Moving on to